X2, the coaster that many people consider one of the greatest ever created. It is a signature attraction for Six Flags Magic Mountain, and almost everyone loves it. And the key word there is almost. Prepare for a controversial review. Now, before I get any further, I need to preface a few things. First of all, I have only ridden this coaster once. Why did I only ride it once? Well, the first time I didn't love it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to ride it again, and the line was pretty long. The other thing to note is that while I did ride in the front row, I was on the outside seat. I've been told by many people that the inside seat is definitely better, and that's the way to go. However, I would like to point out that if there's only one or two specific seats that you can ride in to make the coaster enjoyable, that right there might be a little bit of a problem. So if you're sitting in the front on the inside seat, that means you have two seat options. And if you don't ride there, then apparently the ride is not going to be good. At least that's what I've been told by people who ride this coaster frequently. Now, I don't want to make it sound like I hate this roller coaster, because if I hated it, then it would be on my top 10 worst coasters list that I've made. However, it was not on there, so do I hate it? No, I don't. And really, if you want me to be quite honest, I'm still not quite sure what to think of it, even though I rode it several months ago. But let me first talk about the pros. First of all, I want to say I do really like the layout. I think that the layout is really cool. A lot of people say, well, the layout could be better. I don't have a problem with the layout. Could it be a bit longer? Sure, but whatever. I also really love the color scheme. When you put the color scheme together with the theme, I think it is crazy. The messed up music that it plays when you're going up the lift hill, that's crazy. And then it has that ultra steep drop. And it's absolutely huge, 215 feet. And I like the whole concept behind it. The whole idea that you're rotating as you go along the course, because, I mean, let's be real here. If you took out the seat rotation, then the layout suddenly isn't very good. The whole reason why the layout works is because it is a fourth dimension coaster. Now, let's move on to the cons. And the first con that I want to talk about isn't something that I thought was actually a problem, but it's something that a lot of people talk about. A lot of people say that this coaster is rough. Now, it is an aerodynamics coaster, and keeping in mind that I only rode it in the front row, I didn't think it was rough. I was too busy focusing on the seat rotations that I didn't even notice the smoothness. So you're probably wondering, well, what is the reason why I didn't think it was that great? And here it is, the seat rotations. Yes, I talked about how the whole idea behind it is good. The problem with it is the execution. I don't have a problem with when the seats flip or anything. My problem is how they flip. It is not a smooth rotation when you're going from one position to another. The seat rotation is actually very jerky. And at some points, the seats are bobbing to the point where they should just be sitting still, but they aren't. They're kind of rocking back and forth. And I want to contrast this to the SNS 4D free spin rotations. Those rotations are very smooth. And part of that is because it has more to do with gravity. This is all forced rotation. But still, because the way the seats were rotating in that uncomfortable, jerky fashion, I couldn't focus on anything else. And actually, I've heard of some other people who are kind of in my similar position where they've only ridden it once, and they too thought, oh, it wasn't that great, but then the more times they ride it, the more times they like it. But since I don't exactly live close to Magic Mountain, it's kind of hard for me to do that. And since I'm just basing this review off of only one ride, it's hard for me to say positive things about it. And maybe part of that was because I thought that this coaster was extremely disorienting. I had a hard time keeping track of where we were. It got to the point where the ride ended and I was like, that was crazy, but I'm not sure if I enjoyed that or not. And really, that was the main reason why I didn't feel the need to go back and ride it again. Now, would I ride it again? Absolutely. I'm optimistic because obviously so many people love this ride. So for that reason, I would absolutely go and try it again. I just don't see what the big deal is. I think it's overhyped. So just based off of my one experience on this roller coaster, did I like it? I mean, not really. And I know at the end of these reviews, I'm supposed to give a final score that kind of rates the ride, but I'm not sure I feel qualified to rate this coaster. Normally, I don't have a problem rating a roller coaster after one ride, but I feel like for me to truly get a feel for this roller coaster, I need to ride it in the back and most importantly on an inside seat. So I think that'll really affect the smoothness level, which again, I'm not sure that I really found that to be a problem. but it's my understanding that the seat rotation is not going to have any effect on where you're sitting in the vehicle. So whether I was on an inside seat or an outside seat, the shaking back and forth that it does during some of these rotations, where it's flipping and it does it in a very jerky and snappy manner, that doesn't matter what seat you're sitting in. So I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I wasn't a big fan of Magic Mountain's signature attraction. At least at the moment I'm not. Again, I really do wish that I could give this another try, see how my thoughts about it change, but when I just walked off this coaster, I just didn't get it. I didn't love it like everyone else does. And I think part of that may have to do with the fact that when I was waiting in line for the front row, I was told that I couldn't have anything in my pockets, which I think is an absolutely ridiculous rule. When I'm wearing shorts that have zippers and buttons on them so that if you put something in your pockets, it's not going to fall out. And yet I was told that I couldn't have anything in my pockets, which I thought was ridiculous because then you'd have to buy a locker. And this is the only coaster at Magic Mountain that has lockers, which I think is ridiculous. They easily could have retrofitted the station to have bins on the platform. That would not be that hard to do. Look at B&M Wing Coasters. They're able to do it. The ride-op said that you can't have anything in your pockets because of the nature of the ride, but I just don't understand why, if it's secured with a zipper or snaps, why you shouldn't be able to bring it on the coaster. I just found that extremely ridiculous. And I don't know, maybe because I was in that argument before I got on the roller coaster, that meant that when I got off, I was kind of in a bitter mood. But I think even just looking past that and looking purely at the ride experience, I don't know, part of me just really wishes that someone could take the same exact layout, same exact concept, and just do it with different trains or something different so that the rotating that the seats does is very smooth. Whether that be B&M's attempt at a 4D coaster or I don't know who, but I do love the concept and everything. I just think the execution was not very well done. And then, I mean, if we want to take a further look at the trains, I mean, their restraints aren't exactly the greatest. They're kind of very funky. But I don't know, those are just all of my thoughts for X2. And again, bringing it back to the final score, I know this is the point where I'd kind of attach a number to the coaster, where it's like, okay, this is the rating that you should associate the ride with. Please just don't dwell on the number. I've told you already that I think I need to go and reevaluate this coaster. But I think just based off of my single experience, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. But that's if you're forcing me to pick a number. I think if I were to experience it again, maybe I'll go in with a different attitude and I'll know what to expect so that when I ride it again, I'll be able to say, okay, now I can see why so many people like it so much. But just at the moment, I mean, I don't love it. I'm not even sure I'd put it in the top 3 for best coasters at Magic Mountain. But if you love this coaster, hey, that's great. I just think that this coaster needed better execution. But I mean, I told you I like the layout. I think the theme is really cool. So take that as you will. Please don't hate me for my opinion. I apologize if this is your favorite roller coaster or one of your favorites. But that was just my experience on it. And really, I wish I could have had a great experience on this coaster. I really wanted to like it. I went in expecting it to be one of my favorite roller coasters. And I was very surprised when I walked off saying I didn't really like that. So make sure to post your thoughts about X2 in the comments section below. Again, please don't rip me apart or anything. But of course, make sure to stay tuned for more coaster reviews. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a bunch more reviews coming, so stay tuned for those.